certainly been a long day. I had an early start. I am, just to reiterate what I was trying to say at the courthouse today, after 2 years and millions of dollars spent with the government in my emails, in my cell phone, monitoring my phone calls, looking at my text messages, there is still no evidence of Russian collusion or WikiLeaks collaboration. A number of the assertions in the government's indictment of me are demonstrably false. I've answered almost every one of those points. If anybody had followed what I've been saying on Fox or InfoWars or Stone Cold Truth, I will plead not guilty. I believe that I will be vindicated in court.
You do too.
But I am 66 years old. I do not have a valid passport. I do not own a gun. They have all of my records. There was no reason to treat me like Pablo Escobar.
Ridiculous.
Roger Stone did nothing wrong.
Roger Stone did nothing wrong.
Roger Stone did nothing wrong. Roger Stone did nothing wrong.
Obviously, they think I'm the OG, which I'm not. And they could simply have called my attorney to tell me that I've been charged. And I would have gone in and voluntarily turned myself in.
Did you have any idea that it was coming this morning? What were you doing? Were you sleeping? Were you already up?
I was already up. My wife was upstairs, but because she is mostly deaf, I was afraid that when they went in, I was already out of the house and handcuffed. I was afraid that they would think that she was resisting and shoot her because she cannot hear. Fortunately, that didn't happen.
Did you hear the knocks? Did you see the lights?
They pounded on the door. When I came to the door, they had assault weapons pointed at me.
This is not America.
And what did they say to you? And what did they say to you? And what did you say to them?
They said,
"We love you, Roger."
Thank you. They said, "Thank you."
You're an American patriot.
Collusion News Network.
Collusion News Network.
All right.
You're trying to get an idea as to what happened.
Thank you.
No, don't you cut that out.
Thank you.
Don't you cut that
So
out.
what did they say to you, and what did you say to them?
They said FBI, open the door. I opened the door. They said, "Are you Roger Stone?" I said, "Yes." They said, "Please step outside. You're under arrest." I stepped outside. They handcuffed me. They said, "Who else is in the house?" I said, "Just my wife." They said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yes, I'm sure." They said, "Where is she?" I said, "She's on the second floor, but she's hard of hearing." The door was locked upstairs. They pounded on the door until they woke her up, and she was brought outside as well. They still had not told me yet what I'd been charged with. That said, I want to say that the FBI did treat me with extreme courtesy. Once I was outside the house, but I don't understand why they needed 29 men with assault weapons and sidearms and hand grenades.
And CNN was tipped off.
And a battering ram. Now, here is the problem as far as I'm concerned. They took me into custody at 6 a.m. Their press release from the special counsel's office did not go out until 6:17, but there was a CNN cameraman here at 6 o'clock. I think that is inappropriate.
Roger, what did the FBI take from your house, or if anything?
I have no idea. I'm just returning home after a long day. But since they have had full access to my emails and my text messages and my phone calls for not just 2 years, 2.5 years, because as we will demonstrate, I was under surveillance during the 2016 election, long before Mr. Mueller was appointed special counsel, long before there was a congressional investigation. The assertions that I have been less than truthful in my House Intelligence Committee testimony are incorrect to the extent that I made errors. They were honest errors of memory. They had entitled no intent, but they were also immaterial. They're right. I did forget that I had entirely exculpatory text messages in an old cell phone that proved everything I told the committee was the truth. I did forget that.
Go figure. Yeah.
So next week, D.C.?
D.C., but we're uncertain of the details yet.
We're living in a police state now.
It certainly appears that way.
It's a total witch hunt.
So you're innocent.
Sick and tired of it.
I am innocent. I will plead not guilty, and I will be vindicated.
What about anybody else in the campaign?
Impossible for me to say. The indictment asserts that 2 campaign officials either told me to find out what was in WikiLeaks disclosures or asked me about it. That is demonstrably false. Anyone who says that is lying. There is no corroboration of it. And I will prove that.
Seth Rich is the one. Seth Rich.
Well,
Nobody checks into that.
It is interesting. It is interesting that I am being sued by the Democratic National Committee, along with Donald Trump Jr. and Jared Kushner and the Trump campaign and the Republican National Committee. And I have asked, my lawyers have asked them to preserve their computer servers so we may examine them and determine once and for all whether they were hacked.
And you had a gut feeling this was coming, right? You had a gut feeling.
Well, it's hard to say. I think I have always been realistic about the fact that a federal prosecutor with unlimited control, no oversight whatsoever, with the authority to look into anything whatsoever, can indict anybody at any time. And the grand jury process is a flawed process. All they hear is negative information. They're never told anything in rebuttal. They're never told anything exculpatory. So you can lead a grand jury to indict literally anybody.
And if convicted, will you ask President Trump for a pardon?
Well, I don't answer hypothetical questions. I've been in politics for 40 years. I have not discussed a pardon with anyone, including the president. I expect to be acquitted. And therefore, it's a moot question at this point.
When's the last time you spoke with the president?
Anthony
It's been a while.
emails didn't get this much attention, Roger.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Or that James Clapper,
And he's been charged with pedophilia.
or that Clapper can.
Hillary Clinton
Thank you. We gotta go live.
That's okay. We have the truth right here.
Do we have any other questions from reporters?